Dobrodošli na poslijekoncertni razgovor. Kao što vidite, s nama je maestro Jakub Hrůša. Welcome, dobrodošli. Kao i obično, razgovarat ćemo na engleskome, pa ću ja ukratko prevesti sažetak, pa ćete vi uloviti što sam ja preskočila. Imat ćemo nekoliko pitanja, jer maestro se ipak žuri, jer mogla bi se zatvoriti kuhinja. Ali bilo je toliko ljudi koji žele čestitati, znate. Mislim da to razumijete. So, congratulations once again. I told them that we have to make it quite quick. We'll just talk very fast. I would like to start by asking you about tonight's program, what your idea behind it was, and also how the first piece, Versus Idol, connected to it, because I know you've played the other pieces also without this first piece. We had the feeling that it was a very varied program that showed very different facets of the orchestra, perhaps also love and war and all that, but I would like to hear what your reasoning was.
Dobro večer. So, the first piece by Blagoje Bersa, we played for you because we wanted to play a Croatian piece. And it may not satisfy your question, but there's no connection to the rest of the program at all. The connection is the passion for every place we come to, and the local presenter said it would be beautiful if you play a Croatian piece, and we said it will be very beautiful, we will do it, and we chose this charming piece by Bersa, and we enjoyed playing it here, and it makes the Zagreb concert on our tour special.
Vidim da ste shvatili, pitala sam majstora Hrůšu za program i kako uz ova ostala dijela koja su svirali i na drugim mjestima, paše ili ne paše, kakva je poveznica tih ostalih dijela i Bersine skladbe i dila koju smo čuli prvu. Majstor je rekao da poveznice zapravo nema u nekom direktnom glazbenom smislu, ali da je poveznica strast i da je poveznica to što su zapravo htjeli ovaj zagrebački koncert učiniti posebnim, jer je to baš svirano za nas i da je djelo vrlo šarmantno.
And the rest of the program, so you may know if an orchestra goes on tour, of course you have to find a program which will be beautiful and acceptable and stimulating for all the places you go to, because it's not possible to play a different program every night. At the same time, I wanted to show our orchestra in different directions. We are focusing right now on Beethoven. We're doing more symphonies by him, and at the moment, number 4 was the one we wanted to play most. And I thought it's a beautiful piece for the first half. It could be played in the second half, but then sometimes it's difficult if the rest of the program is very rich in sound. Then Beethoven in the second half could sound a little lacking the gradation. So we put it into this first half, and it's a very charming piece, I think. For me personally, one of the best. Well, all 9 symphonies by Beethoven are the best. So I just want to say that number 4 is not so popular like number 3, 5, 6, 9. And I think it's not right. I think it's an amazing piece. So I'm very happy we could present German music with German orchestra and contribute to the fame of this less known symphony by Beethoven.
Maestro je nastavio odgovarati o ovom programu. Rekao je da ono što utječe na to kako se slaže program i to da su oni sada na turneji. Naravno, na turneji se ne može svaki put svirati neko novo djelo, pa razmišlja o tome kako će naći djela koja će biti lijepa i poticajna za razna mjesta koje posjećuju. Jedno od tih je svakako Beethovenova 4. simfonija, pri čemu je rekao da se njihov orkestar sada, ovih dana, ovih mjeseci, možda i godina, baš intenzivno bavi Beethovenovom glazbom. Rekao je da je 4. simfonija nepravedno zanemarena. Rekao je da je najbolja, zapravo rekao je da je svih 9 simfonija najboljih, ali da je šteta što je ta 4. dobivala malo premalo pažnje, a da mu je posebno drago što tu lijepu njemačku glazbu može izvesti s njemačkim orkestrom.
And the second half was determined by the wish of Daniil Trifonov, because he suggested to play Rachmaninov Paganini variations. Our tour, by the way, consists of 2 halves. So this is the end of the first half, like the climax of the first half, and you were an amazing audience, the most beautifully responding. We were in Graz for 2 concerts, in Vienna for 1, in Ljubljana next, and now we're here. And then we have a little break, and then we go to Brno, where I was born, and to Linz. And I say that because in Brno there was a huge wish to create a replica, a repetition of a concert which happened 100 years ago, and whose part was Taras Bulba by Janáček. And I personally love the piece. I've done it so many times with the best orchestras in the world. And so we put it into the tour program. And I'm very happy about it, because next to very popular Paganini variations, we played also a piece which some people know, some people don't know, but we feel very passionate about it. And I'm very happy we could present it. It's a marvelous piece of music, and I think made a good crown of the concert. So it was a constant tension and gradation. So I think I'm happy about this choice now, knowing how it went.
U prošlom prijevodu sam vam propustila reći da je u slaganju programa za maestra također važno stupnjevanje, odnosno gradacija, odnosno koje dijelo bolje odgovara kojem dijelu programa. Tako je u ovom slučaju taj Beethoven bio u prvom dijelu, ali možda u nekim slučajevima bi je mogao biti i u drugome. Rachmaninovljeva rapsodija bila je želja pijanista Daniila Trifonova, a nakon toga su odsvirali skladbu koja je maestru jako važna, Taras Bulba, i čini mu se zgodnim da su te vrlo popularne i poznate varijacije, odnosno rapsodiju Rachmaninova, uparili s jednim dijelom koji neki možda znaju, neki ne, ali je njima jako važno. Važno je također i to da u drugom dijelu turneje, u kojem idu u Brno i Linz, žele ponoviti jedan program koji je u Brnu izveden prije 100 godina, a na tom programu je bilo i dijelo Taras Bulba. To je bio još jedan od razloga. A današnji koncert je kraj, kruna, vrhunac prvog dijela turneje, u kojem su bili u Gracu, Beču i Ljubljani, i mislim da smo dobili i pohvalu kao vrlo dobra i receptivna publika. I say you gave us a compliment.
And so we will play in the second half of the tour. The piece for the piano will change. So Daniil will play Dvořák piano concerto, which is not done so often. And Beethoven will go out in Brno and we will play a piece by Josef Suk, which is not a piece for the tour. It's a huge orchestra. I think the presenter who has to pay for the tour would be crazy if we bring it here. There's also the chorus and 6 additional trumpets and so on. So I think this one was very beautiful, very nice. Sometimes, quite honestly, if you go on tour, the programs, especially in the latest years or latest decades, sometimes feel, in terms of programs, little bit routine, because the presenters always put only what everyone knows, like it's never some discovery. So I'm very happy that this tour has a discovery there, which, this combination of pieces you might have not heard before and maybe last time in your life. So I'm very happy. It's unique also for me.
Maestro je ponovio da je vrlo sretan s ovim odabirom programa, što su potvrdile i reakcije večerašnje publike. Čini mu se da ponekad, pogotovo u novije vrijeme, na turnejama doživljavamo uvijek ista djela, rutinerski odabran program, uvijek iste hitove, zato mu je drago da su ovdje uspjeli donijeti program koji nije takav, koji nosi djela koja će možda netko od vas čuti prvi put, kažem možda i posljednji, ali to ne znamo. A u drugom dijelu programa, u drugom dijelu turneje će gospodin Trifonov svirati Dvoržakov koncert, što je zanimljivo i zato što se taj koncert ne izvodi baš često. A svirat će jedno djelo Jozefa Suka koje nije baš primjereno za turneju, jednostavno zato što zahtjeva ogroman orkestralni korpus, a to donosi neku cijenu. I wanted to ask you in continuation about your collaboration with Daniil Trifonov. Now, on the one hand, the audience was able to see and hear for themselves. But I would like also to hear from you what you think that makes Daniil Trifonov a great collaborator. And the reason I'm asking you is also that this is not your only collaboration. You were doing the Dvorak, the Skrjabin, I think the Mason Bates too.
Mason Bates, Gershwin,
yes.
Rachmaninov too. We've done I think another Rachmaninov in the past.
So yeah. This means that you keep coming back to each other.
He is happy with me and I'm happy with him. It's a good start. He's a completely unique artist. So what makes him special, it's very difficult to say concrete stuff because it's the whole complex personality. Of course, his virtuosity, breathtaking, like no limits. But there are some other people who have amazing virtuosity. But what makes him special is his mental creativity. So he approaches every concert with a new quality which presents a feeling like, at least I speak for myself, like he is composing the piece on spot. It's thinking and feeling in music, live, shown live during the performance. There's nothing with him like he would say, I am doing this and now I do it 5 times on tour. Every single concert is different. There is a component of improvisation in his playing, which never destroys the piece. He is always following exactly what the composer writes. But there's this freshness of mind, which makes it really unique and also surprising. You have to be ready as conductor and as orchestra to react every night differently.
Majster sam pitala za suradnje s pijanistom Trifonovim, kažem suradnje jer su već zajedno radili na mnogim koncertima, izvodili su i Dvořaka, Skrjabina, Rachmaninova i druge skladbe, Mason Batesa, Gershwina. Naravno, maestro je rekao da se radi o velikom virtuozu, što smo mogli i večeras čuti, ali naravno virtuoza ima i drugih stvari, u nekoj kombinaciji faktora. On to kod gospodina Trifonova naziva mentalnom, umnom kreativnošću na način da ima osjećaj da on svaki put gotovo kao da na licu mjesta radi novu skladbu, čak i sklada, čak njegovo sviranje ima na neki način improvizacijsku kvalitetu koja ipak ne uništi djelo, ali je dodao da ta njegova svježina ponekad i njega samoga iznenadi, pa i on sam mora biti uvijek spreman na nešto malo drukčije, jer to nije pijanist koji će 5 puta za redom učiniti isto. I also wanted to ask you about the orchestra. When we read about the orchestra, there's this one sentence that always pops out. That is it a major orchestra from a city that is not major in size? So I assume that brings with itself all kinds of qualities, maybe even some hindrances, I don't know. I would also assume that the good part about this is a sense of a community, but maybe you can shed some light on what it's like.
I see no hindrances.
Okay,
at
great.
All. We have Bamberg is a beautiful place to work and I guess to live. Also, I don't live there constantly, but it's a very friendly. I don't know. Have you been? Go have a beautiful trip. It's worth it. So Bamberg is a small town, about 80,000 inhabitants, roughly. And it has this orchestra which, in a ranking in Germany, is the absolute top category of orchestra, also big in size, and with audience which is breathtakingly involved and included in our communal life. So, as you have read many times in our materials and interviews, I'm sure this city of 80,000 inhabitants has some 7,000 plus subscribers. So every 10th inhabitant of Bamberg is the music lover who comes to the concert. So how many people are in Zagreb? 800,000, something like that? So you would have to have 80,000 subscribers of Zagrebačka Philharmonia.
The whole of Bamberg we would have.
Yeah, so it's something to be very proud of. And it's not like a village, it's a real town with university life and with beautiful visual arts, architecture. It used to be a capital of Holy Roman Empire for some time, about 1000 Anno Domini. I don't remember that, but there's a history. So for me, like coming from Prague, for example, where there's so much beauty in the city and so much culture, coming to Bamberg felt really like being in a town which is relative, like really similar in the radiation of beauty and culture. And to work in such a place is just amazing.
Moje se pitanje odnosilo na ovaj orkestar. Kada čitam o tom orkestru uvijek se ističe ta jedna rečenica da je to jedan od najvećih, najvažnijih orkestara iz manjega grada, pa sam pitala što to donosi sa sobom, ima li to neke dobre i loše strane. Pretpostavila sam da su dobre strane taj osjećaj zajednice i povezanost s orkestrom. Majstor kaže da loših nema, da ništa ne otežava taj rad. Kaže da je Bamberg krasno mjesto u kojem on nije stalno, ali ga jako voli, smatra ga prekrasnim. To je grad koji ima oko 80,000 stanovnika, a orkestar ima više od 7,000 pretplatnika. To je usporedio onda sa Zagrebom, znači Zagreb bi trebao imati pretplatnike za cijeli Bamberg, odnosno 80,000, i kaže da su ti pretplatnici jako strastveni oko dolazaka na koncerte i upozorio nas je da trebamo posjetiti Bamberg, da je to pravi grad s pravom atmosferom, s krasnom kulturom, u kojoj on osjeća poveznicu s gradovima iz kojih je došao. On je izvorno iz Brna, došao je onamo iz Praga i misle da postoji poveznica u pristupu kulturi. You mentioned the connection with Brno and Prague, and I also wanted to ask something that's maybe slightly more personal. The orchestra emphasizes the lineage that comes back to the musicianship in the Czech Republic, in Prague. So I was wondering how you feel about it. Do you feel the special connection with Czech music and Czech artistry? Or is it so internationalized that maybe this is not in the first?
Okay, so you have it completely right. The only little correction would be, like, it's worth mentioning that before the Second World War, before the First World War, to be even more precise, the country from which I'm coming, the Czech lands, Bohemia, Moravia, they included Czech-speaking community, which was the majority of the country, but also a huge community of German-speaking inhabitants. And this community was culturally on a top level and had amazing music culture and amazing orchestras, amazing opera house in Prague, also in Brno. So this is the source of the orchestra, who, after the Second World War, were, from my point of view, really too radically and unfortunately insensitively, all German musicians were expelled out of the country. I mean, all German people and musicians as well. And because they had such an amazing tradition and quality, they were seeking for, refuge and a new home. And so Bamberg, which is close to Bohemia, offered them to settle there and create a new orchestra, which in 1946 became the Bamberg Symphony. So it's like there's a historical connection to Bohemia. I wouldn't say Czech Republic because it didn't really exist, to Bohemia, which is a Czech, Bohemian kingdom, which was part, like Croatia at one point, like many countries of the Austrian, Hungary, or before Austria and so on. This is complicated. At one point, simply the Germans had to leave and brought the deep culture from Bohemia to Germany. That's the first part of my answer.
Prvi dio odgovora. Pitanje je bilo u vezi s podrijetlom orkestra koji ima veze s Češkom. Naime, kako nam je objasnio maestro, ne toliko s Češkom i Česima, nego s tim geografskim područjem na kojemu je bila i velika skupina ljudi kojima je prvi jezik bio njemački, koji su nakon Drugog svjetskog rata protjerani, a tražili su drugo mjesto na kojem bi se mogli baviti umjetnošću. Došli su u Bamberg, koji je bio relativno blizu. Oni su donijeli svoju duboku kulturu koju su razvijali jako dugo, koja je bila vrlo cijenjena, i od 1946. to je Bamberški simfonijski orkestar. A čućemo i drugi dio odgovora. So there's a second part.
Yeah, and so if you ask me, every time from the very beginning, now it's even more because we have been together for 8 years and have done a lot of repertoire of my country. But from the very beginning, I felt this orchestra is extremely sensitive and capable to understand the subtleties of the music I so much intimately knew from my own heritage, so to speak. But it's indisputably and clearly a German orchestra. There has been nothing like globalization, and it's also not an orchestra which would just represent a different culture. It's a purely German orchestra. We have majority of the musicians are German, and then we have a minority, some part, I don't know if it's the third or fourth of the orchestra, which includes many nationalities, I think over 20, including, Slavic people and, people from the West Europe, many countries, and American people and Asian, as you saw, the ethnicities. So there's a mix. But usually it's all people who were schooled and educated in Germany, So it's not like someone from Croatia would arrive all of a sudden and enter the orchestra. It can happen, but generally it's usually those who studied in Germany or had some career in other orchestras and then want to move to a better one. That's what usually happens. So in this way, it really represents, especially Bavaria, the southern German, because our supporter is Munich, Munich ministry and a German orchestra. Yeah.
U nastavku odgovora na pitanje o zapravo podrijetlu orkestra, maestro kaže da je on već 8 godina s ovim orkestrom. Njemu je odmah bilo jasno da je to orkestar koji je itekako sposoban pojmiti, naučiti i svirati glazbu s kojom je on odrastao u Češkoj i sve njezine suptilnosti. Sada to još više osjeća, ali svakako želi naglasiti da to je jedan vrlo njemački orkestar u smislu da je većina glazbenika iz Njemačke i u svakom slučaju su vezani uz Njemačku jer ih se većina i obrazovala u Njemačkoj. Maestra, mislim da moramo pustiti na večeru, pa ću kao pitati ovo klasično oproštajno pitanje. I will ask you the usual farewell question about your future plans. So we know that you're going to Brno and Linz, and what happens next?
What happens next? I am basically starting my activity in the Royal Opera House, Covent Garden. I am going to be the music director from season 25-26, which is the next season. But this season already I'm doing one piece, which we start rehearsing in November, which is Jenufa, Její pastorkyňa by Janáček. And the premiere is at the end of January. So because we live in London, the family of mine, 2 kids, of course with my wife, with their mother, we live in London, so it's a home for me as well as Prague and Bamberg. And I will spend some time there. And after the new year, we have all kinds of, I have all kinds of guest appearances, many places in the world, like Berlin Philharmonic and, in France and in Santa Cecilia, in Rome, and I go to the States. And so it's many projects of that kind. And so this will be like the end of a long period spent with Bamberg on tour, recording and giving concerts in our own town. And now in the next period I will be a little more traveling around the world on my own.
U sljedećoj sezoni maestro Hrůša postaje glazbenim ravnateljem Kraljevske opere u Covent Gardenu, ali i prije sljedeće sezone tamo će postaviti jedno djelo, to će biti Jenufa, skladatelja čije smo djelo i danas čuli, Janáčeka. S obzirom da će imati tu novu funkciju, on će sad već i živi u Londonu s obitelji, ali kaže da mu je dom i u Pragu i u Bambergu. Sada je bio u jednoj dužem razdoblju intenzivnog surađivanja s bamberškim simfoničarima, s kojima je bio na turneji, sad je još uvijek na turneji i snima, a u sljedećem razdoblju će više gostovati, između ostalog će nastupiti s Berlinskom filharmonijom, orkestrom Santa Cecilie i mnogim drugima kojima, kako se kaže, možete provjeriti na internetu. A i zatim ima još razne gostujuće planove, znači kojima će biti malo manje s ovim orkestrom. And I think we've come to the end of this conversation because you have to...
I just wanted to say it's lovely to be here after so many years.
21.
21 years.
Since the competition.
I was here as a participant in the Lovra for Matačić competition. 2003.
And he won a prize.
Yeah. So I have certain emotion, connected to Zagreb. I came one more time later, but it was a little trickier. It was another visit, but I especially wanted because I see the spirit of Matačić everywhere here. So I wanted to mention that because he was also a very popular artist in Prague. He used to come very usually to the Czech Philharmonic. I never experienced him live. I was a kid when he died, but he was a big personality. Like the Czech Philharmonic liked to perform with him and always refer to his big heart and, you know, generous music making and charismatic personality. So I'm happy to, you know, remember these little moments which connect musical cultures of Croatia and my home country.
Thank you. Majstor Hrůša nam je pomogao da ovaj razgovor završimo poveznicom hrvatske glazbene kulture i njegove glazbene kulture, njegovih glazbenih kultura. Sjetio se da je bio ovdje na natjecanju Matačić 2003. Tada je dobio 3. nagradu. S radošću se sjeća i tog natjecanja, a i misli da se i ovdje i dalje osjeća Matačićev duh koji je njemu poznat i zato što je to dirigent koji je bio vrlo popularan u Češkoj. On ga nije gledao uživo, ali zna po snimkama i uvijek se govorilo o njegovom velikom srcu, zanimljivim izvedbama i karizmi. Tako da smo i na taj način povezali ove dvije glazbene kulture. Ja vam zahvaljujem na pažnji. Thank you very much for...
Hvala.